Thank you. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so this is what we've decided to do. We're going to switch a little bit between Easter themed dishes and immune building, healthy kind of winter wellness type recipes. So we'll have a bit of fun with that. If you have questions, please can you write them in the chat? One of us will try and respond in the chat, but if not, I'm going to have a little breaks here and then to just answer questions verbally as well. So we have, I didn't count, 1, 2, 8 dishes we're hoping to present tonight. So, and I didn't put an end time on it because I really don't know how long we're going to take, but I'm hoping somewhere between an hour to an hour and a half. If anyone needs to leave early, don't feel bad having to jump off, but we hope you all have fun this evening as we all cook together. So the first category we wanted to cook from is breakfast. So we're going to do a healthy kind of breakfast and an Easter kind of breakfast. And I'm going to begin. So I've got my Thermomix here. This is the TM6. Oh, actually, before I get cooking, I should just also let you know that most people on tonight already have a Thermomix. But we do still have quite a few of you who don't yet have a Thermomix. So I am going to try and speak to both of you so that, you know, those who do have it can get some tips and learn some new things. But those who don't will still kind of cover some of those basics. And at the very end, I can go through payment options and whatever else you need to know if you're trying to make a decision whether this is right for you. So I guess the main reasons people invest in a Thermomix to save time, to make healthy dishes with no additives, preservatives, or to cut them down at least, to save money, because when you're cooking from scratch, that's what you can do, and cutting out takeaway, those types of things. But also for convenience, yummy tasting recipes, creativity, and also to be a bit more environmentally friendly and save on energy. So many different reasons why people do invest in a Thermomix, and I hope those of you who have one are benefiting from all these awesome things about our beloved Thermomixes. I can talk more about that later, but I will just start, we'll get cooking. And also, just so you know, I'm going to do some recipes manually, which is just, I know the recipe out of my head, or I'm following a recipe and I'm using the screen manually. But also a few of the dishes we're going to show you guided cooking, which is using the screen. And so at that point, I'm going to move my camera a lot closer so that you can see the screen. So right now, if you can't see exactly what I'm doing on the screen, don't worry, we will show you throughout the evening how it all works. So let me just grab my ingredients. The first thing I want to show you is one of my favorite breakfasts to do in the Thermomix, because not only is it fast, it's healthy, and I've always got the ingredients, and there's 4 ingredients. It's called CADA, C-A-D-A, and each of those letters is one of the ingredients. So C for coconut, A for an apple, D for dates, and the other A for some almonds. So what's awesome about this recipe is it all goes in at once and it takes 2 seconds. If you're on Cookie Doo, you can find this, it's called 2-second breakfast, but it is actually an Aussie recipe. It's from long ago and we call it CADA. So an apple goes in, the coconut, the dates, and the almonds. Everything goes in at once. I need a lid. The lid just sits on top like that. And I am going to use the turbo button, which if I swipe, I can find all my modes, which I will show you through the evening as well. And I'm just going to do this 3 times. So you'll hear how powerful this is as we go. Because that on turbo is going at 10,700 revs per minute, which is so awesome. So you can see, I'm going to show you, but then I'll show you out of it as well. You even see that? We've got this beautiful chopped texture, fresh muesli, which is really delicious and it's filling, like it's really yummy, it's filling and it's healthy. So talking about some health tips tonight, trying to build immune systems, basically, if we go on the idea that there's no such thing as the one cure-all thing that's going to help your immune system, the main thing is having a balanced diet with lots of vitamins and minerals. So, you know, in here we've got almonds, which are great for protein, fiber, vitamin E, magnesium. We've got an apple, which is great for your vitamin C, vitamin A, potassium, even vitamin K, and also, oh, I forgot to show you. Well, hopefully you saw, I left the apple whole. I just pulled out the stalk and the little end bit at the end and I quartered it, but that means that the seeds were in here. Now, apple seeds have is it 17? I always get mixed up between B17 and B19. I think it's B17, and you can't find that vitamin in many things other than apple seeds. So getting it in your diet in this way, because you don't notice it in here, they were turboed. So it can all go in. And there's our breakfast. The other great thing I was going to share with you is about coconut, which has manganese and copper, iron, and this antioxidizing ingredient called selenium, which is in your coconut as well. So, oh, thank you. Someone's confirmed it is B17. I'm not like I'm not a nutritionist in any way. So just everything I'm sharing tonight is just from research that I've done over the last 10 years of trying to eat healthy for me and my family. So that's me. So this information is gathered. I'm not super duper expert, but I try. But yeah, this is a really healthy, nutritious breakfast. As you saw, it only took 2 seconds. I think it's pretty awesome. You can substitute dates for any other dried fruit. The dates is mainly a sweetener, so dried apricots would be really good. I've used frozen blueberries before. You can just play around with it. Another thing I've done, actually on Cookie Dough, it's called Mango Muesli, is pretty much the same recipe, but instead of apple, it's frozen mango. So you've got this really cold kind of chopped muesli, which is really yummy. I recommend trying that. So yeah, playing around with it, but your basics is just CADA. And I should also let you know, I'm going to email you all the recipes. So don't feel like you have to sit there madly writing notes. Tomorrow I will email out as many of the recipes as I can. So yeah. All right. I am just going to check to see if there's any questions in the chat about CADA before we move on. Oh, yep, just about dates being replaced. Okay, great. Awesome. So that was our healthy, hopefully immune building, start the day off right recipe for breakfast. We're going to move now to the wonderful Alicia. And Alicia is going to show us a very popular and traditional Easter kind of breakfast. So I'm going to mute myself and ask Alicia to come off mute so that when you're on speaker view, anyone who came on late, if you find how to turn your Zoom onto speaker view, you'll be able to see whoever's talking the biggest on your screen. Hope that makes sense.
Hey everyone. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. I did have a different view before. I'm using my phone for tonight because I don't have this really awesome setup. So I'm going to be making hot cross buns in the Thermomix tonight. And I'm going to show you guys what's going in the Thermomix. I've already planned in my cookie dough that I would have hot cross buns tonight. And so I'm just going to go ahead and tap start cooking. Now, I like to think I'm a bit of a hot cross bun fanatic. I'm not sure. Everyone's probably way more of a fanatic than I am. And I also am a big chocolate fan. So I kind of steer away a little bit from the traditional of having currants and sultanas in my hot cross buns. But we'll talk about putting both or whatever it is that you want to put in your hot cross buns as we go. So I'm just going to show you how we make the dough in the Thermomix. What I love about these recipes is that they give you an option. So this one just says we're using zest, proceed with this step, and if not, to skip it. So I won't be putting lemon zest in mine, which you can do lemon or lime zest. So I'm just going to skip through that up to where I now want to be. So I'm just going to pour in my milk. So I put in 6 grams too much milk, but we're going to survive. You can use fresh yeast or dried instant yeast, which is what I always use. Don't mind if you can hear my child upstairs getting ready for bed. And then to activate yeast, if you make bread a lot, you would already know this, but it's really important that we activate our yeast so that it actually does its job. And we're now going to heat our yeast for 3 minutes. So while that heats, if anyone has any questions they want to put in, but I'll also just show you, because I'm not gonna bake a hot cross buns and everything in this lesson, in this meeting. But here are some hot cross buns that I prepared earlier. So this is the finished product. I'm skipping from like step 1 to step finished. But after this heats and I finish my dough, you leave your dough to proof for a little bit, which I will show you. But we get on to then piping and making our piping. And I have found that this recipe on cookie dough for the piping, it's quite watery. And I always leave out, so this is just a tip from me, is I actually put in 15 to 20 grams less water than the recipe asks. Otherwise, I find that I don't get really nice looking crosses on my bread. It just kind of seeps into the dough. So this is a really nice and thick cross. And I haven't put a sugar glaze on these because I accidentally put in 20 grams too much sugar into my dough earlier. So these aren't sugar glazed, but I did make some chocolate ones. And I also made some sultana, just regular ones. And my tip as well, if you're going to make chocolate hot cross buns, at the end of when we are doing our dough, it will ask us to put in currants and sultanas. And usually I skip that step and I don't even put in my chocolate chips, which you would think would go there. But I put them in afterwards because I find if you put your chocolate chips in when it asks for the currants and sultanas, you end up you make your dough really chocolatey, which is great. But while it's proving, your choc chips also get really soft and melty. So it's a really messy situation to deal when you're rolling your buns and getting them ready. So I don't put in my choc chips or sultanas if I am going to split my dough into different types of buns until the end. So I'll split my dough and then I will mix in, or I'll knead in by hand, choc chips or sultanas. And then I will get them ready to prove and bake, etc. So hopefully that is helpful to someone. I also find that when you're mixing in what you want, you can choose how much you want. So for example, if I'm making sultana ones, I will put in a little bit less. But if they're chocolate ones, I'll put in a few more, like I'll make 3 hot cross buns with heaps of chocolate chips, and then I'll make 3 without chocolate chips, or only a few for my daughter because I don't really want her to eat too many chocolate chips. So our yeast is about to finish warming. I'm going to put my camera up on top and hopefully you'll be able to see the top of my Thermomix. I hope that's a clear picture. So our milk and yeast is nice and warm, and I'm now going to add in my baker's flour. I think that hot cross buns are seriously like the best afternoon tea. Not that anyone's coming home from school anymore because nobody's going to school, but I think that these are the best to come home to when they're like fresh out of the oven and all gooey, they're chocolatey. Or you can put butter on it and it melts and they're just divine. So I've just put in 500 grams of baker's flour because I didn't use the lemon zest earlier in. So if you do the lemon zest, you do your lemon zest and 100 grams of baker's flour, and then we put in 400, whereas just then I just did 500 completely, and a pinch of salt. I'm just going to put in 70 grams of butter. Bear with me. Perfect. And then 50 grams of caster sugar, and I'm going to be really careful and not put in any extra sugar. I also think that if you are conscious of how much sugar you put in your things, you could definitely put in less sugar in hot cross buns, because I think they would taste just as great with half the amount of sugar, because it's only 50 grams. It's really not much. 1 egg. And I've already prepared my spices. So in here I've got cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. It's 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and nutmeg, and then half a teaspoon of cloves. I think if you find that you like one of those spices a bit more than the rest, it's okay to add a little bit more in. I always do like a little pinch more of cloves because I just really love the flavor that cloves add to everything. So I'm gonna put my lid on, and we're gonna mix that for 6 seconds. So this is what it looks like already after 6 seconds of mixing. So it's getting there. It's not quite there yet, but we're now going to sorry everyone, we're going to skip through the 100 grams of sultanas, which is when you would put your sultanas and currants in if you wanted to do this traditionally. So I'll skip that and I go straight to the kneading. Another tip from me is that whenever I do knead any dough, like I don't care what it is, I always knead it for at least an extra 30 seconds to a minute, just because I really like it to just be that extra bit proved and soft. So I'm just going to add an extra 30 seconds. I'm sure we already all know that the wheat sign means that we're about to enter into dough mode, and I'm just going to spin it. Now it's going to knead, and it even gives you a tip there that you can prolong it by up to a minute if necessary. So I always find that 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes is good enough. So I'm going to leave that to knead, and I think that is probably all we need to know about hot cross buns. And another tip on hot cross buns is, like, for example, this dough I'm making now, I will probably freeze, and you can defrost it at any time. And I'll probably freeze it without adding in anything to the dough, so that when I do defrost it, I can choose what I want to put in, whether it be sultanas or choc chips, M&Ms even, whatever it is that you're feeling. If anyone has any questions, please pop them through, and I'm going to pass time back to Laura.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I do have one other tip for Easter Sunday morning, because we always have a tradition of having hot cross buns fresh on the Sunday morning for Easter. So I actually, and rising time and shaping and piping and all that, I actually make my dough the night before and have it shaped in my tin, covered in Glad wrap in the fridge. And in the morning, all you need to do is turn on your oven, pull out of the fridge and put in the oven. And so the process on Sunday morning is actually really quick and easy. I don't know if that's helpful for anyone as well. But I was thinking, Alicia, if the dough's ready in a minute, they might want to just see the texture of the dough when it comes out of the Thermomix, because it's pretty awesome. 2 minutes of kneading in your Thermomix is the equivalent of 20 minutes of hand kneading the good old-fashioned way. So it's really powerful. It's one of the awesome features of the Thermomix. I think she's getting back to the kitchen to show it.
Another 40 seconds on the kneading.
Oh, no problem. Other doughs that you can make in your Thermomix are basic bread dough. And one of the great things you can do there is, if you want to make it healthier, you can grind your own grains to make your own wholemeal flours, and that way it's a little bit healthier than just normal rolls, but anything you're making from scratch is already so much more healthier than what you're buying without any of the additives and preservatives that are possibly in those breads, depending on what brand you're buying. But what else? Oh yeah, pizza, focaccia, scrolls. My kids have scrolls in their lunch boxes instead of sandwiches.
All right.
Oh yeah, okay, we're back to the hot cross bun dough.
Okay, we're finished. I've just pulled it over. I've already set up my mat and everything where I'm going to put my dough. But this is what our dough now looks like. Hopefully that is clear.
That is clear.
I seriously love that. Like, I'm not even getting anything on my hands because it's been kneaded together so well. And that is probably one of my favorite things about the Thermomix, is that I love fresh homemade breads, etc. But I hate getting my hands dirty. So this is just falling straight off my hands. Sometimes this can get a bit messy in here if you're going to wipe your hands around on the wet bits. Or if your dough is too sticky, what I usually do is just take the base of my bowl off and I'll push the blade out. So now my bowl's empty of dough, and I'll just pull the dough off the blades, which is way easier when it's out of the bowl. And voila, there is all my dough.
That's awesome. Thanks, Alicia. So that just goes to rise now for a little while. Someone in the chat has asked, what's the difference? Thanks, Kerry. What's the difference between flour and baker's flour? Really great question, because all of our doughs always ask for baker's flour. It has more protein, a bit more gluten, so it makes a nice, stronger, more elastic dough rather than crumbly like a cake. Yeah, so definitely better to use for your doughs. You usually find it in big 5-kilo bags at the very bottom of the supermarket aisle. Or if you go to wholesalers or places like The Source, you can buy it per gram or whatever. But yeah, baker's flour is, if you don't have it and you want to make bread, still use your plain flour and your bread will still be great. Like, don't not bake just because you don't have it. But if you can get your hands on baker's flour, it really does make a difference to the end result. Cool. All right. If you've joined us before, I said before, I will just say again, if you put your mode on speaker view, you'll be able to see whoever's presenting. So hopefully you can all see me now. And I am going to show you now how to make an amazingly healthy, immune boosting soup ready for winter, ready to fight off viruses and bacteria and whatever else is out there. And this is from, I'm going to send the link tomorrow, but it's from one of my favorite sites called Quirky Cooking. And Quirky Cooking's author is Jo Whitten. She's one of our friends at Thermomix. Some of her recipes are on our Cookie Do platform, which I'm going to explain. For those who are new, I'm going to explain Cookie Do's a little bit soon. But yeah, so this recipe is actually just from the website and I'm going to use it manually. I'm following it from my phone next to my Thermomix. So I am going to not be seen, but I'm going to zoom more on the actual Thermomix, hopefully. Actually, I think I need to do that just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So you can't see my head, but you don't need to. The first step is to add all these beautiful, amazing ingredients. I have got some garlic and shallots and ginger, some fresh turmeric here, it's the orange one there. I've got some coriander and parsley herbs here, and I've got a little red chili in there as well. So all of that goes in together. I left my spatula. So already you can see the start of a very healthy soup ready for winter. Now all that was whole, all I had done was peeled it a little bit, and I am going to chop that for a few seconds. Now the recipe said 5 seconds, but I could hear that that was done. I don't know if you can tell when you're cooking in your Thermomix, when you're chopping, you can usually tell when it's done by the sound. I don't know if you can see this, but this is like, that was 3 seconds, and we've got everything really beautifully chopped here. So the recipe says to leave half of that out and to leave half of it in. And now the reason, she doesn't explain the reason, but I am assuming is because raw versions of these foods is a little bit healthier than cooked versions. So I'm leaving half in to be cooked into the flavor of the soup, and then we'll add the raw at the end, and it will just intensify that flavor, and it will just be awesome. So now I'm adding a liter of broth. Now she says to use chicken broth. I'm using chicken bone broth. You could use water and chicken stock cubes or stock paste. You could use veggie stock paste if that's what you have. You don't have to be strict, but the idea is a liter of liquid stock. I like to use bone broth because it's a lot healthier. It's got really great benefits for the family who are eating the bone broth. So that's what I do, but if I don't have it, I just use stock. So I am going to cook this for 10 minutes. So I'm just setting the timer. I'm setting the temperature to 100 degrees, and then on a really low speed to just speed 1, so that while it's cooking, it's just gently stirring. So while that's going, I can give you a little bit more information about some of those ingredients. So oh, sorry, Karina, we're making, did I not say? I don't think I said. We're making, it's a lemon coconut chicken soup. I'm so glad you asked because I'm pretty sure I didn't say it. This is just such an awesome soup, ready for winter, and it's delicious. I only made it once because someone had recommended it to me, and now I make it all the time. It's like I lick the bowl at the end. It's so delicious. But it's got, you know, your turmeric has really good medicinal qualities. It's got this ingredient, this medicinal compound in turmeric called curcumin. I think I'm saying it wrong. Curcumin, actually, which is anti-inflammatory. It's an antioxidant. But to activate the curcumin in your turmeric, you actually need to add a little bit of black pepper. So I'm going to add a bit of black pepper soon as well. So turmeric is, especially fresh, is awesome. If you can't get it, just use your powdered turmeric. It's still going to be great for you. Just wash your hands after you use it, because I don't know if you can see the yellow. This is because I thought I was like, oh, it'll be all right if I just also peel the ginger and get everything else ready before I wash my hands again. No, now I'm yellow. The ginger is also anti-inflammatory. It's got gingerol in it, which is a nice bioactive substance which helps fight infections. You've probably all heard that. Ginger is very commonly known as helping to fight infections, as well as nausea. But yeah, and then later on, I'm going to add some freshly squeezed lemon, which, you know, obviously has vitamin C, but it's also got your folate in it. It helps digest other nutrients in your digestive process. So putting lemon in with other nutritious ingredients helps you digest, helps your digestive system get the benefits from those nutrients. So it's not just wasted. But yeah, for your immune system, definitely you want a lot of vitamin D. So going outside, getting some sunshine where you can, vitamin C, sleep, hydration, exercise, all of this is really going to help. And it's things we hear about as children, but sometimes it sounds too easy. And so you just kind of go, yeah, in a hurry, can't be bothered, whatever. But it actually is really important for your immune system and for your overall health to stay hydrated, exercise, sleep well, and eat all these yummy foods that are going to help your nutrition. So that's why today we started with breakfast, and now we're doing dinner, and soon we're going to move on to a few other categories. But oh yeah, so Kelly's just asked in the chat about bone broth. I will send, when I send out the recipes tomorrow, I'll put in the recipe that I use. There's heaps you can Google. Yeah, I can. That's like a whole nother topic. Yeah, which the bones have the nutrients, and as you're making the bone broth, they all come out into the broth. It's got, you know, all your collagen and like just really great stuff. But for now, since this is just cooking, I am going to switch to Jen, and Jen is going to show us another awesome dinner option for Easter, and then I'll switch back to this to show you what I do soon. And Jen is one of our lovely consultants in the Hills area, and she can introduce herself. Thanks, Jen.
Hey guys, I'm Jen. I'm local in the Hills area, Stanhope Gardens, and I've been with Thermomix now for, I think, nearly 8 years. So I absolutely love my Thermomix from a busy mum point of view, and also as a consultant as well. So I'm ever so grateful, especially at this time, to be part of Thermomix. And going forwards, this is really nervous, excited about doing these virtual cooking classes, and just being able to come to you, to your homes, in the comfort of your homes, and show you our amazing Thermomix. At times like this, it just goes to show how versatile our life is. As a consultant, it's completely new to us. We're definitely, I guess, more comfortable with a house full of people showing our machine too, and it's just a little bit sad tonight you guys don't get to taste our food, but you'll definitely get to see what we're cooking. So tonight my dish that I'm presenting is a linguine and salmon with herbs. So a lovely dish, a very quick dish, a lovely dish that we can eat on Good Friday, considering we're having the Easter theme. We like to try and eat at least one fish or seafood dish a week. Again, it's just good for us. It's a healthy meal. It's another non-red meat option for us. Just trying to have that balanced diet of all the good things. Now, I quickly just did a bit of research because, again, like Laura said, we're not nutritionalists or anything, but I was just actually quite surprised to read that this dish uses smoked salmon. So I've got a plate of smoked salmon here. Pick it up at Coles or Woolies. It's actually still in stock, and it lasts a long time in the fridge. But it says that it's a good source of vitamin B, also selenium, which helps our immune system. So obviously with the bugs that are going around at the moment and coming into just the regular winter months, we all need to be looking after our immune system. It also contains vitamin D, so we are stuck inside. Again, if you can get out, go for a walk around the backyard, go for a walk up the street. This is totally new for all of us. So considering I'm a beach lover, we need to pump that vitamin D. So smoked salmon contains your vitamin D, which also helps, regulate calcium, phosphate. I'm reading this from Google. This isn't something that I know off my heart. And also helps with healthy bones, healthy teeth. So immune system, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we just want yummy food. And if it's healthy, it's a bonus, right? So getting takeaway, it's expensive, all of that kind of jazz. So I'll just kind of zoom you in here now, if I can, and show you my screen. So I've just got 1.2 litres of water boiling in the Thermomix, and we're just about finished, but I've had it boiling for quite a while. So I'm just going to stop that now, and I'll just raise this up a little. Sorry for my, my camera angles. But what I've got, I'll just go back to the home screen. We'll go here, and so when you come into CookieDoo, you'll see that I've just searched up the linguine with salmon and herbs. And again, any of my customers or anybody that needs to know how to do that, very simple. When you're in CookieDoo, you can just actually type in linguine or salmon. There's keywords and all the recipes will pop up. And then we say start cooking. And of course, I've weighed in the 1.2 litres of water. We just tap next there, and I've boiled that just to cut down on some time. So 10 minutes to get that water boiling. Sorry about my hands jumping across the screen. And I'm just going to carefully remove the measuring cup from the Thermomix. obviously we need to be aware of the fact that it's hot. You'll see here that my Thermomix is flashing red. It's normally green when it's cold, but with the Thermomix, there's actually a visual indicator here showing that the Thermomix is hot, and that's a great one for the kids to know. Mum and Dad need to help here. Now, what we do next is we just tap next on our screen, and it's asking us to, oh, actually, I could leave the lid on. Tip our 2 teaspoons of salt through the hole in the mixing bowl lid. So I've pre-measured my 2 teaspoons of salt, and we just tap next. Now, the next bit is our linguine. So pasta has been a little bit difficult to get the last couple of days, and I couldn't find linguine, so I'm just substituting fettuccine. So I'm just weighing that into the bowl, and of course, we are going to be eating this for dinner tonight, so I'm just using what we've got, and that's 300 grams, but the recipe calls for 320, so it's definitely a meal for at least a family of 4, maybe even for us, we'll have leftovers. Now we're just going to tap next. Now this is really cool. I'm just going to lift up my
Jen, you've just muted yourself, so we can't hear you.
Sorry, guys. All right, so I was just showing the pasta swirling down into the Thermomix, and if you give it a little tap, it'll pop down and it'll just cook. So I'm just going to cook that now for 8 minutes, which is what it says on the packet, and then we will flick back and I'll make the sauce and the rest of the dinner.
Perfect. Thanks so much. That is, I always love seeing the pasta cooking in there. It starts off tall and then it just wiggles in. So that was really good timing because my broth has just heated up nicely in my Thermomix, and I am ready to add my next ingredients. So if you'll remember, we're making our chicken soup over here. So the next ingredients to add are a whole tin of coconut milk. Now you can actually make your own coconut milk in the Thermomix if you want to. It's actually really easy, and I have done it a lot. Just for tonight's purposes, I am using a can. So that goes in. And our freshly squeezed lemon juice goes in. The recipe asks for 2 teaspoons of coconut sugar. I am using Rapadura sugar because that's this type of sugar that I have, which is quite similar. That just helps. It does help with the flavour. If you don't like having sugar in your recipes, you don't have to have it, although Rapadura is quite a healthy alternative for sugar. Some cracked pepper. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just adding some cracked pepper because, as I said, the pepper activates the curcumin in the turmeric. A bit of salt, and now the recipe asks for now to just cook, and then at the end add in some shredded chicken. I often have shredded chicken in my freezer ready to go, but today I don't. So I am adding some raw chicken. I'm just going to show you how small I've diced it. Just tiny little pieces. Oh, you can't really see that. Just little pieces of chicken, but if you had cooked already, just add it in at the end. But I am adding it raw so that it can cook in with the soup. And I'm adding in about 300 grams of chicken. And that is it. That is really the soup. That is the recipe of the soup anyway. So that cooks for 10 minutes. The only other thing I always add, and I'm doing 10 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. The other thing I always add at the end is because my family really love chicken noodle soup. And this isn't in the recipe, this is just my own addition. Because in the Asian section, you can buy these packets of noodles, which is my alternative. I don't buy 2-minute noodles. This is it's ramen, and it still cooks in 2 minutes, but you need to add your own flavoring, which is, I find, very easy to do. But it's also really good just to add into soups when you want chicken noodle soup or whatever noodle soup. So in the last 2 minutes, I am just going to put this in. The screen here will probably be on a different presenter, so I'll just explain what I'm going to do in the last 2 minutes. I'm just going to take off my measure cup and just add the noodles in the top exactly the same way Jen just did with the fettuccine, and it will very quickly go in. And then our soup will be ready to serve. So in the meantime, actually, while we've got Jen's pasta is cooking and my soup is cooking, I'm just going to quickly show you all what Cookie Dough is, because you've heard us talk about it a little bit tonight. And for some of you, you don't know what that is. But Cookie Dough is our recipe platform that has over 25,000 recipes, and it's all accessible on your screen. So if I come here and show you, when I swipe this way on my screen, this is Cookie Dough, and you can scroll down to browse through some recipes, or if you know what you want to cook, you can just start searching here. And depending on how good your Wi-Fi is, I actually find it works better when the bowl isn't hot. But if I say I want to cook, what do I want to cook? A soup. I guess that's the first thing that came to my mind. You just press search and all your soup recipes come up. And you just choose the one you want to cook. There's heaps, there's dozens. But so that's how you use it on your screen. I'm actually going to show you, Cookie Dough is on the TM6 this way. Sorry, someone's just asked in the chat, is it only on the new model? If you have a TM5, you can access Cookie Dough via a cook key that sits on the side of your TM5. And it works very similar to what I just showed you. Well, you can't search for it on there, but you search for it on your device and then sync it to your TM5. So yeah, a little bit different, but Cookie Dough does work on both models. I am going to screen share now with you how Cookie Dough works, just for about a minute or two while all of our things are cooking. Can you all see what I've just shared with you? This is Cookie Dough on my laptop, and you can also get an app to use it on your phone. But the view is exactly the same as what I just showed you on my Thermomix screen. So you can see it's exactly the same. What I wanted to highlight is that on Cookie Dough, you can just type via ingredients. So say you want to cook something with pumpkin, you just type in pumpkin and all your recipes are going to come up. And you can scroll and find something. If you already know what you want to make, you want to be really specific, like I want to make pumpkin bread, I will type that in and pumpkin bread will come up, and I would probably choose this pumpkin loaf over here. So say I want to make that, I can just go into it. Looks good. Oh, I'm not logged in. I was wondering why the option wasn't coming up for me to save it. There we go. I can press this Cook Today button, or I can add it. I don't want to make it today. I want to make it tomorrow. So I'm going to add it into tomorrow's week, the planner. So now when I go to my Thermomix, let's see if this is going to work while I'm cooking the soup. I've just added that to my weekly planner. Now when I come to my Thermomix and I go to my week, which hopefully you can see, under Tuesday the 31st of March, you can see the pumpkin loaf is there. I can add a whole week's worth of recipes to my weekly planner and to my shopping list. And when I add it to my shopping list, each recipe that you add, the ingredients for it is categorized into aisles. So let me show you. Sorry, my view is a little different on the when I'm screen sharing. So here's my shopping list and all my recipes. I've got 6 recipes in my shopping list, but each is separated out and put into the categories. So our baking ingredients are together, the cereals are together, dairies together. So when you're going down the aisles and putting your ingredients into your trolley, you just tick it off. On your app, you'd have it open on your app and you just press with your finger to tick it off that you've put it in your trolley, so that by the end of your shopping list should be empty. So on Cookie Doo, I did just want to show that you can also search by like a tagline. So for example, Easter, I've got 492 Easter recipes that have come up. So how awesome is that? You can also search by, so this was a recipe search. You can also search by collections. And so you can see we've got special books just for Easter. Easter cooking with kids, everything Easter, spring and Easter, these great categories. Or if you wanted to look for immune building recipes, I could just type in immune. And look at all these great, I'm gonna go back to recipes because that's an easier way to look. But these great recipes that use awesome ingredients that help boost your immune system have all come up. So that's just a quick little thing about Cookie Doo. At the end of this evening, if anyone has more questions about Cookie Doo, just stay on after the cooking class. I'm happy to go through any of those things as well. I am conscious of time and that we need to move on back to our recipe. So I'm going to go back to Jen now, who's probably ready for us.
Hi guys, I am ready and the pasta's just cooked. Now I've used our Varoma, which is actually a steamer, and hang on a sec, if I just grab my bowl. If you are steaming vegetables or fish or chicken or anything like that, the Varoma actually sits up on top of your Thermomix like so, and that's how you steam dishes. So you can actually cook a soup down below here and steam chicken and veggies, and that's actually one of our recipes when we do real demos in your home. We do a chicken velouté meal. So we cook a vegetable soup down here and we steam chicken and veggies or salmon and veggies up the top, and then we make a lovely sauce to go on our salmon or our chicken down the bottom as well. So there's multiple options that you can do there. But I've used this Varoma dish to actually, like a colander. So I've just strained my pasta and I will just show you what that is. So that's the pasta cooked, the linguine, or tonight for the sake, it was fettuccine. And I'm now going to pop that into our Varoma, into our thermo server. So a thermo server is a insulated serving bowl that is one of our host rewards. So when you host a demo, be it virtual or live, obviously when life gets back on track again, you'll see that you get all different kinds of host rewards are available with Thermomix. So we can pop a slide up at the end. I'm sure Laura's got one there to show you the different kind of host rewards that are on offer. But this is one of our bowls. It keeps your food piping hot for up to 2 hours. So you could do your pasta ahead or your rice ahead and pop it in here, or you could do your curries or your dishes in here. It's great for, like with us, we've got kids that are rushing off to sport. You can do, you can cook early, feed one, and then pop the lid back on, and then the food will be nice and hot for when you come back. So I'm just going to set that pasta aside so it stays nice and warm for us. Now I'll come back to the screen, so excuse me while I just zoom back in. Okay, so it says drain the pasta and transfer it into the thermo serving bowl. And I just stirred through a tablespoon of olive oil just to keep that nice and smooth. How's that screen looking there? Is that okay? Looking good? All right, so with a clean Thermomix bowl, and I just happen to have one here, the bonus of having a second bowl is that I can just transfer one bowl out and pop another one in. Now what we're going to do is throw in here 2 sprigs of flat leaf parsley. So we're just going to tap next. So the kiddies can do this dish. It's nice and easy. and 4 chives that we've cut into half. So I've got chives and parsley in here. And we're just going to tap next again. Put that measuring cup and lid back on and tap away. Now 3 seconds, it's going to chop. We just turn the speed dial to speed 8. That's finished. And we're going to just transfer that into a bowl when the door's open and set that aside. So I'll just scrape that now. If I can show you what that looks like, you can see our parsley and our chives are nicely chopped there. I'll just lift up the lid and, sorry, this bit's a bit boring. I'll just pop this into a bowl and that's done. Okie doke. Now next, without cleaning the mixing bowl, we're just going to pop that in and tap next. And we're going to pop in a shallot. For me, it was just a small onion. I couldn't find one of those in the shops today. So about 40 grams there. Now I have pre-weighed with the Thermomix 60 grams of oil. So I'm just going to tip that into the Thermomix bowl and tap next. And we're just going to put the lid on and chop this for 5 seconds on speed 7. So that's going to ease up now. And that's done. And of course, it just tells us to scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl with a spatula. Now, I just want to show everybody what that looks like. Can you see how nicely that's chopped? So give that a little quick scrape down just to push all those goodies back down into the bowl there. And we're going to tap next. Then we're going to insert the measuring cup and lid back on. And we're going to cook that now for 2 minutes at 100 degrees. So, Laura, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, that's great. My soup's finished. So I was just going to show how I always pour my soup into my thermoserver, which seems silly, but I do have a good tip about it. And as Jen was saying with our thermoserver, it is normally a host reward. It is an awesome thing to have, but at the moment, anyone purchasing a Thermomix is getting that as a free bonus along with their Thermomix purchase, as well as one of our awesome books called Eat Well, which I'm going to cook something from Eat Well in just a second. So when I am done with my soup, hope you can see, I've got my spatula ready in one hand and I'm holding the base of the handle in my other hand, and I just pour onto the spatula and that stops it, what's the word I'm looking for? Splashing. It stops it splashing up everywhere. You know, when you're pouring a lot of liquid into something, it can splash up back at you, but pouring it onto the spatula stops that happening. You can see our awesome chicken noodle soup there. After I pour it in, some of the noodles are just stuck around the blades, as you can see. So I'm just going to use my spatula to get all that out. Someone was asking about the chicken shredding. I didn't put the chicken on reverse. It was, and it has not shredded. It's all stayed the right size. But when I put the noodles in, I'm just going to get a piece to show you. I had cut the chicken very small. Oh. Now I'm going to use my hands, and since the food isn't for you guys, it doesn't matter. But the chicken has stayed the pieces that I made it. When I added the noodles in the last 2 minutes, I did turn the blades onto the reverse mode, which means the blades are going anti-clockwise on the blunt side of the blades. So anytime you want something to be stirred and you're really concerned about it not being chopped, you just put it on reverse and it's just on the blunt side of the blades. The only other thing to do is add in those spices that we chopped earlier. Give it a stir, and here is this beautiful immune boosting chicken noodle soup, which tastes divine because not from tonight, but I've made it so many times. I'm just gonna get a ladle and you can see, hopefully. I kind of want to show you how awesome this is without spilling it. But you can see the noodles there. We've got the beautiful broth with all of our herbs and spices chopped into it. We've got the chicken. It's like just the best thing for when you're sick or when you want to prevent your family from becoming sick. So that's the recipe will come out tomorrow. Yeah, that's me. Back to you, Jen.
All right, guys. So what we've got here now is our, sorry, you can't really see that well, but we've got our onion and our oil nicely sauteed there in the bowl. Now, the recipe now calls for 20 to 40 grams of lemon juice. So I can't remember exactly how much I measured out. I think about 25 grams is what our family likes. So yeah, 26 grams. So again, you can play around with that and see what your family likes. Now we're going to add in now 50 grams of pure cream or pouring cream. So that goes in and we tap next. And then in goes 200 grams of smoked salmon. Now, can I tell you, I hate waste. So the packet that I could find at Woolworths was 250 grams. So we're going for the 250 grams. Otherwise, that's the cook's right. If you just want to sneak off that little 50 grams and nibble on that whilst you're cooking, then that's the cook's right to do so. It's like that little bit on the roast lamb. Everybody gets to nick that. All right, so I'm going to pop this in to the Thermomix bowl. So that's the salmon. Now I've just cut that in like 1 centimetre strips and then cut those down into a few little centimetres, you know, half-inch kind of segments of that smoked salmon. I probably should have shown you that. And then all we're going to add in now is a tablespoon of pickled capers. Again, if I had little children, I probably would omit those and just sprinkle them on our individual dishes, but our family likes everything, so in they go. So a tablespoon of capers, and then just some black pepper to taste. Now, we are a bit of a pepper family here. And then we are just going to add the reserved herbs. So as you can see, that was our herbs that were nicely chopped into our bowl. Adding those in. Now, if I was telling the truth, I'd probably add some garlic in with the onion, but we're following the recipe tonight. But garlic is good for everything. Popping the lid back on. Is that screen showing up okay? Yes. There we go. And tapping next. And this is just going to combine for 1 minute. Now the blade is going to go in reverse so we don't pulverize our salmon pieces. But yeah, 1 minute to go and then I'll serve up.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. That's just a perfect. We wanted to highlight healthy recipes and Easter recipes. So, you know, the difference between my soup and then using this Salmon Linguine, which would be a perfect dish for Good Friday when everyone wants to eat fish. Yeah, so that's great. So should we, do you want to see the plate up or should we go to Penny? We better see the plate up. Does anyone have any questions at the moment? Cool. All right. Well, while we're waiting for the pasta to finish, I will tell you another option you have tonight. We, as consultants, we sell Thermomixes. That's an obvious job of ours. One of the things we love about it is the customer service we're able to provide to our customers. All of us are very passionate about our Thermomixes. We honestly believe everyone should see it. Whether anyone buys it or not, that's out of our control, but we want people to see it because that way they can decide for themselves. So yeah, so if you love your Thermomix too and you want to share that with friends, it would be great if you could host cooking experiences, which is a win-win thing all around. You get host rewards, you're helping your consultant spread the Thermo love, and you're potentially helping your friends benefit from having a Thermomix, as we all know it's life-changing to have one. So it's good to share that love around. So you can get in touch with your consultant. If you don't have a consultant, get in touch with me and I'll find out where you live and I can put you in touch with a really great local consultant. And I think Jen's waiting for me to stop talking.
No, I wasn't. I was just, Mark's in the kitchen here helping wash up these bits. So that's our salmon and cream sauce. And the recipe just calls for, oops, it was too quick. We're just going to tip that onto our pasta now. Sorry, I don't know what's a good angle to do this. So tip that into our thermo server where our pasta is. And so I'll just get everything out of there and I'll give you a good show. All right. So that's what we've got. And now we're just going to stir that through. So on the actual instructions, it says transfer the ingredients into the thermal serving bowl and combine with the pasta. Divide between bowls and serve warm. So I'm going to give that a nice big stir around. And as I said, this is quite a good dish. You can bulk this up with more pasta if you like. As I said, our family is good with that amount of pasta. So you can see what that looks like there. And all I'm going to do is take our tongs and just get out a nice heap and swirl into our bowl. And I would serve that with a lovely wedge of lemon, and that would be our beautiful salmon and linguine and salmon. Oops, hello, we've messed up that. Okay, well, hello, laptop sliding. All right, so there we go. I hope you enjoy my little presentation and thank you for joining.
Thanks, Jen, that's amazing. Someone's just asking, have you tried it with coconut cream?
Absolutely delicious. Again, I guess that's a benefit of the Thermomix. You can, substitute. You could use spaghetti. You could use anything. You could add garlic. I was even thinking of just doing a few little pieces of asparagus to go in there with that because we are a veggie family, or even some baby spinach you could throw into the bowl when you put your pasta in, into the thermo server, just to get those greens in, to get a few extra veggies into the dish. And as I said, just bulk it up a little bit for the family. But quite a yummy, lovely, it's still pasta, but it's a light Friday night dinner or a Good Friday night dinner, something like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to move quickly to our treat section. There are like healthy options you can make in your Thermomix for treats. We haven't chosen to showcase any tonight, but honestly, if you're interested in knowing what kind of healthy chocolate alternatives or other sweet treats you can make in the Thermomix, just ask your consultant or one of us. But we're going to switch to Penny now, who's going to show us how you can make honeycomb.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. Thanks for joining us tonight. I get to show you the awesome honeycomb. This is a recipe that is only for use on the TM6 because of the high heat feature, but it's actually one of my favourite features about the TM6. I'd love to be able to tell you that there's something healthy about this recipe, but there's not. So enjoy it. If you enjoy it, I'm sure that will make you happy and whatever. So we're just going to search. We can either search by cookie dough by swiping, and my machine's just waking up, so bear with me. Or you can press the little magnifying glass in the top right hand corner of the screen. So we can just type in honeycomb. And it will bring our recipe up. So it's really easy. There's only 4 ingredients with it. It is only a guided cooking recipe just because of the high heat feature. So we're going to start cooking. It tells us that to guarantee the success of the recipes using the sugar stages, which is the high heat feature, that the exact quantity and description for all ingredients has to be used. So it will tell us to line a baking tray. So you can either line a baking dish with baking paper, or if you're really lazy, you can lay it out on your Thermomix. So at the end of the recipe, when you tip it out, you can actually just tip it on top of that and it works perfectly. Have ready 1 to 2 tablespoons of bicarb of soda. I recommend just one. One is more than enough. So we're going to pop in 300 grams of sugar. It does say white sugar or brown sugar, but I like to use raw sugar. Just pop that in. 80 grams of water. $20 grams of honey or golden syrup. Now I have made my own golden syrup, so that's a big batch. That's actually half empty, but a big batch of golden syrup from the recipe community. There is a recipe on Cookie Doo for golden syrup. We're just going to add in 20 grams of that. And then we're just going to pop the lid on without the measuring cup. And we're going to start. So it cooks for 22 minutes. And all we need to do is just turn the dial and it starts the machine. And it starts as normal, the blades still spin. And then after a while you'll hear it, the blades will stop and it will actually start to heat up. So it will get up to about 160 degrees, which is why this recipe is through guided cooking and we can't access the high heat manually. You can make your own golden syrup. It's nice and cheap. It's 3 ingredients. There's sugar, a slice of lemon and some water. And it makes heaps, the big batch from the recipe community. Like I said, I did try to find some health benefits of honeycomb, but there's none at all. So I can't show you. I just want to show you the inside of the bowl though, if I can, once it gets really hot, because it's really cool, but it's still heating up. So if you want to jump back to you, Laura.
Thank you so much, Penny. We will come back to you to see what happens with that in a little while. We are going to go over to Alicia, who is going to show us another yummy Easter treat that we can make. Hopefully she's there ready.
I'm back. Sorry, I just had to fix up my AirPods. And I have a confession. In that time, I have been eating Cross Buns. May have eaten 3 all on my own. Might not have. I am pregnant, so I'll blame it on the child. So I'm actually going to be making chocolate hazelnut kisses. If you haven't seen this recipe, it is on Cookie Doo. And I think these are really, I've seen a lot of mums, especially those who are still sending children to school because of their jobs, etc. They've just been sharing about what are some things that maybe they could give to the teachers to say thank you, or to those who are in essential jobs or in health and nurses, etc., and are still working. So these little hazelnut kisses are a really great little pack up treat. And the same, I think, with hot cross buns. They're really easy to just, you can make hot cross buns and put 2 in a little plastic bag and tie it with a nice bow. And it's the same with these chocolate hazelnut kisses. So this is what our recipe looks like. And I'm the same as Penny, not really sure what the health benefits are to this recipe because there's literally 3 ingredients, which are Nutella, hazelnuts, and chocolate. So you Nutella lovers out there, I'm a huge Nutella fan. So this is pretty delicious. And it's definitely a treat. But it's surprisingly not too sweet. Which, yeah, I was surprised by. So I'm going to start by putting in 100 grams of Nutella into my bowl. Just going to pop my phone back up there. 100 grams is about 1 big tablespoon of Nutella. And I do think that if you wanted to put, that was enough. If you wanted to put in less, you could put in less Nutella. It wouldn't be super detrimental. So that's 100 grams of Nutella. Guess gonna have to lick the spoon. And then we're going to add in some roasted hazelnuts. So the hazelnuts, these things were a bit of a mission. I did these earlier today because all I could find were regular hazelnuts at Coles. And as you can see so the hazelnuts I bought still had skins on them. And I actually had to roast these. So the recipe asked for roasted hazelnuts with the skins removed and then cooled. I didn't quite get the skins off of all of these. So this was actually a bit fiddly. I had to roast the hazelnuts in the oven for about 15 minutes at 180 degrees. Once the skin starts cracking, you can smell it as well, that they're ready. And you take them out and then you put them in a cloth in between, it could be a damp cloth if you want, or a tea towel, and you just rub everything together and the skins will peel each other off each nut. As you can tell, not all the skins came off and I was getting pretty sick of trying to peel all of them. But I actually didn't use a cloth. I put mine in my steaming basket and I got a paper towel and I rubbed it all together with my paper towel. And so the skins were coming out the bottom of the steaming basket. And then you need to scoop them out gently so you're not putting too many skins back into everything. So that's probably the most complicated part of this recipe. I'm going to put in 130 grams of my roasted hazelnuts. I did think about making this recipe without roasting the hazelnuts, but I do feel like hazelnuts roasted gives you a completely different flavor than regular non-roasted, like raw hazelnuts. So here is, we've just got hazelnuts and Nutella, and we're about to just blitz that, for 4 seconds, speed 6. And this is what it looks like now. I hope that's clear. Is that clear? It doesn't look clear to me, but okay. Smells amazing. You can really smell the roasted hazelnuts, and I'm just going to scrape the sides down. And now I actually should have done this earlier and completely spaced because I was too busy stuffing my face with hot cross buns. We then add in our chocolates, and it asks for dark chocolate melts, but I think you can use like whatever you have in your cupboard. I have white chocolate melts, but I also have dark chocolate, so I'm doing a combination. I'm going to throw in the white chocolate that I have. I do think obviously white chocolate's a lot sweeter. So if you did all white chocolate, that would be pretty full on. But I've just put in 50 grams of white chocolate and I'll do the rest as dark chocolate. So I'm now going to leave that to melt for 4 minutes. If you were in a rush and you didn't want to sit here and have to listen to your Thermomix and melt your chocolate for 4 minutes before you melt it again, what you could have done in the beginning, which I should have done and forgot to do, is you could have pre-weighed your chocolate, your 150 grams of chocolate, and blitzed it in your Thermomix just on speed 10 for like 5 seconds, and it would have been all nice and crummy. And that way it would melt a lot faster than big chocolate melts would. So the finished product, which is probably the other fiddly bit, let me just show you. So you put your chocolate into silicone molds. Just worked out great because I actually bought some. They were on sale at Coles the other week, and I bought some to make some gummies. But what I did, I'll show you the mix in a little bit. But so you take a spoon of each mixture. This mold's quite shallow, whereas this mold I have is quite deep. But you take a spoon of mix and place it into your mold. And then if you have I'm blanking on what this is called, but like an icing knife, it's really good to smooth it out over the top while the chocolate is still warm. So it's important that you don't let the chocolate sit in the bowl for too long, or it's going to be a lot harder to work with. So it's just really good to smooth it out, and that way you can get the excess chocolate off and put it back in your bowl. These ones aren't full all the way because, like I said, they were quite deep. And then you can pop them out, and they make super cute. Like, you could easily wrap these up and put them into little plastics with a little thank you note for a teacher, and they're homemade chocolate hazelnut kisses. They just need to set in the fridge for a couple hours after you have put them in your molds. So hopefully that made sense. If anyone has any questions, put them through. And that is how you do chocolate hazelnut kisses.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. And one of the other things I love about the Thermomix is the temperature control. And we have our options start at 37 degrees and they go up in 5 degree increments from 40 up to 120. And then high heat is 160. But, you know, if you're wanting to temper chocolate, you can do that at 40 degrees and it will be perfect. So yeah, thank you for showing us.
Can I just one last thing I did think of as well, sorry. The big mold that I used, I didn't get to smooth these out because it doesn't fill the whole entire mold. So what you could do if you only have big molds and you didn't want to make your chocolates as big, is once you've popped them out, if you put a small fry pan on low heat, you could smooth out the bases of your chocolate. So this is what it's not very smooth. The top's smooth, but the bottom's not. And so what you could do is just melt the bottom of the chocolate again and then put it onto a cold plate and back into the fridge just so it would be smooth all around. That's just if you're really like anal about presentation like I am.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you so much. All right, Penny, how's your honeycomb going?
Yes, it's good. I just want to show you, it's bubbling away. So I'm just going to take my phone out of its little holder, if I can figure that out. Sorry. I just want to show you the inside of the Thermomix. Don't know. Can you
see that?
See that?
Yeah,
oh, it's bubbling away. It's on max temperature, so that would be 160 degrees. And it's still got 12 minutes to cook, so.
All right, I will start. So there are treats, and we will come back to Penny's honeycomb, but I am conscious of time and we need to keep moving. So we're going to move on to our drinks section of the evening, and we have a nice, healthy, immune-boosting drink, and we have a yummy, fun cocktail as well. So I'm going to start the tea. This is our, I'm going to move this so you can see. If you put your phone on speaker view, you'll be able to see my Thermomix. Hopefully you can see that. I'm using guided cooking, and this recipe is from the Eat Well recipe book. It's called turmeric, lemon, and ginger tea. So I'm just going to press start cooking. Now, the first part of this recipe is to make this beautiful paste, which doesn't look great, but it is great. I've already done that part because it takes 5 minutes, and just for the sake of the evening, you know, 5 minutes is nothing at home, but when we're doing an online cooking class, I wanted to just try and speed the process up a little bit. So what I did was I added the turmeric, the ginger, some coconut oil, pepper. Remember I said the black pepper activates the turmeric. I chopped it all together. And so in guided cooking, you don't have to do what it says. So I'm skipping all this. Anytime you're cooking in the Thermomix, if you don't want to add an ingredient or you want to skip a step, you're allowed to do that. So, yep, now it's to cook. So that's the 5 minutes that cooked, and I didn't want to do that in front of you all. So now we're up to the tea part, and it says to add half a lemon flesh. So I've got my lemon here. I'm going to add a 2.5 centimeter piece of ginger. I never know how big to cut my ginger, but I love it anyway, so whatever goes in. It tells me to put my lid on, so I just do that. Press next. See, all along the way, you just do what it's telling you to do. So like anyone can cook in a Thermomix. It's so easy. It's telling me to turn it to 5. So I'm just going to turn it to 5. The timer is preset. So that will be nice and hot. Next, it's telling me to add a liter of water. So I am just going to scrape that down. It smells so good already, that lemon and ginger. So I'm going to add in, oops, always make sure your scales are on 0 before you start adding. You can see the scales, hopefully you can see the scales going up there. This is one of the other things I love about the Thermomix, is not having to use measure cups and just being able to pour direct in, you know, with your ingredients from the pantry or from wherever. That'll do. A bit of cinnamon, which I've already measured out here. So you do still have to use your spoons sometimes, and that's okay. And some maple syrup. So it depends how sweet you want it to be. I have made this before, so I already know that it is quite sweet when you do the whole 2 tablespoons, but so I'll probably just do 1. This is a delicious tea, and as you can see, the ingredients we've already spoken about earlier with that ginger and the turmeric and the lemon. Even cinnamon has some nice health properties in it as well. And I've used a good version of maple syrup. And now it's asking me to put in that paste, which I made earlier, which hopefully you can see. So 2 teaspoons of that. So not a lot goes in. We don't want it to be too strong. There are stronger versions. There's turmeric lattes and other, you know, healthy drinks that you can make on cookie dough. But this one's quite subtle. I think it's really yummy. Put the lid on and start cooking. Now that's going to cook for, it says 3 minutes, and then I actually turn down the temperature because right now it's at aroma temperature, which is quite hot. Then I turn it down to 90 degrees for 10 minutes, which is a good temperature to cook the tea at. So I'll just let that happen in the background. And while we do that, let's switch to Nat, who's going to make us a yummy, fun cocktail, which might be good over the long weekend, over Easter. Nat, are you there?
Okay, figured it out. Sorry. Hi. I'm go to bed. I'm Nat, and I'm making a strawberry Caipiroska tonight, which is a really yummy cocktail. I've already tasted one, so it's really quick and easy to make this. I'm just gonna move the video down so that you can see the Thermomix. So I've already got this saved on my cookie dough under my week.
I'm trying to say hi.
So I'm just gonna go straight in and start cooking. Can you just give me 1 second? Sorry, had to yell at kids. Okay, so I've already got the recipe up, so I'm just gonna go start cooking.
I want to say hi, Mommy.
So I've got my 150 grams of strawberries.
Mommy, I'm trying to say hi. Mommy, I'm trying to say hi. Hello. Hi.
2 tablespoons of sugar syrup that I pre-made last night. And I'll talk a little bit about the sugar syrup in a moment. And then 20 grams of lime. So I've just peeled the skin off, and I'm just gonna chuck it in like that. And then the best part, vodka, just 60 grams. And if you go over like I did, it just doesn't matter. And then 200 grams of ice.
Yeah, we need to use this.
And then I just pop the lid on.
And then press.
And then turn the speed over to 5 for 5 minutes. And then it's done. And then we get our lovely decorated glass. I've gone all out.
Dad, that scared me. I went away when it started noisy.
Put in our pretty cocktail glass. Of course, if you don't have a cocktail glass, any glass will do. And voila, strawberry Caipiroska. Very yummy. So, just a little bit about the sugar syrup.
It's yummy for us.
I pre-made the sugar syrup last night. So it's just 250 grams of water, 230 grams of caster sugar. Pop it into your Thermomix for 5 minutes, 100 degrees on speed 1. And then you just need to cool it down completely before you use it. And I keep it in a glass jar in the fridge because you never know when you might need to come home and have a cocktail or two. The other thing I use my sugar syrup for is hot cross buns. So Alicia's made hot cross buns, and you can actually put a glaze over your hot cross buns if you choose to. So it's just good for brushing over the hot cross buns. Gives it that nice glaze. And so you just store your sugar syrup in the fridge. And yeah, and sugar syrup gets used in other cocktails as well. And believe it or not, this cocktail is really healthy because strawberries not only have vitamin C, they have manganese, potassium, folate, vitamin B9. So this is a super healthy cocktail. Totally good for the immune system. I'll use any excuse for a cocktail. And the other thing is that you get home and you don't have fresh strawberries, or they're just too expensive because sometimes they are overpriced. Grab some frozen strawberries, and then with your recipe, you add 100 grams of water, and then you change your quantities of strawberries to 200 frozen strawberries, and then only 100 grams of ice, and then just follow the recipe as you need. So, and if you don't want strawberries, put in any berries and make any kind of berry Caipiroska. As long as it's got vodka, we're all happy, right? And that's it for me.
Raspberries.
I'm going to go and sit on the lounge in a minute and watch Netflix.
Thanks, Nat. That's awesome.
And I'm going to go yell at my kids, so I'll be back in a moment.
Your kids are cute and they're welcome to join us anytime. Just for those out there watching, all of us consultants, we're just, you know, we're all in different situations. Some of us are moms, some of us aren't moms yet, some of us have older kids, we've got male consultants as well. You know, we're all from different walks of life, but the main thing is we all love our Thermomix and we love sharing it. If any of you love your Thermomix, you're welcome to join our team and become a consultant as well. All the training's involved, and it is just so much fun. But the thing that I love about it is the flexible hours. So I am a mum of 4 kids, and they're still young, they're still school age. And yes, it's real, we're being real here, thanks Erin. And so what I love about Thermomix is that I can earn an income while still calling myself a stay-at-home mum, because a lot of the work I do is in the evenings or when they're at school, although they're not at school right now. But yeah, just you do the hours that you want to do. The other thing is, if you don't have a Thermomix yet, becoming a consultant is a great way to earn your own Thermomix. So that is an option we offer, where they give you the Thermomix up front, and as you sell, you're working it off. So instead of paying for it with your money, you're paying for it with your time, which is what some of us other consultants have done as well. I've been a consultant for 10.5 years, and that was actually what I did. I was not looking for a job. I just wanted to not pay for my own Thermomix because I wanted it. And the reason I stayed after I earned my Thermomix was just because I love sharing it with people. It has helped my family immensely, especially at this time when, you know, I'm busy, my kids are at home, we're stuck indoors a little bit, or safe indoors, I should say. The fact that my kids can come and make something. My daughter makes dinner every second night, just following the screen. It's safe, it's easy, anyone can do it. So it's a great time to be sharing the Thermomix in the community. So if you're interested in becoming a consultant, please speak to your consultant so we can help you get the information you need. Kerry just wants us to show the video. I'll just show you another one I have out here. So the measure cup is pretty much the same shape as the clear one you had for your TM5, which is different to the TM31. I'm not sure what model you have, Kerry, but it is polypropylene, and it clicks in place into the measure cup, into the lid, so you can move it around. And then to lift it out, you just put your finger underneath, or you can give it a firm twist to pull it out. That one still fits any model Thermomix. You can buy that in the mix shop. There's heaps of accessories that you can buy in the mix shop for your Thermomix. So check out the shop there as well. How are we going with the honeycomb? I'm conscious.
Perfect timing, Laura. It's just finished.
So good.
So, what I need to do now, well, it's really running and it's really hot, so probably can't see that. I need to pour in 1 to 2 tablespoons of bicarb soda. So I'm just going to tip that in. It's just 1 tablespoon. And then I'm just going to get my spatula and stir it. And it's going to fluff up nicely. And now this is getting after. I don't know if you can see that, but it is now going to be poured out, and I'll get as much as I can out as quickly as I can because it's really sticky and it's going to set really quickly. So there's still quite a bit in there. What I will do, I can't work out this camera. What I will do is a pre-rinse. It's built into this recipe, but I can do that later. But I just want to show you, I did make some this afternoon. And I thought I would be really tricky, and I poured some into our snack bar molds. But you have to work really quickly. They were the snack bar mold ones, and that's just some other of the honeycomb that I made and broke up. Yeah, really quick, easy, and it's really quite inexpensive if you're looking for a cheap, inexpensive treat. And you can coat it in chocolate as well if you wanted to temper some chocolate and tip it over the top.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Penny. We are almost done, and thank you for sticking out with us. I did want to be less than an hour and a half. We're an hour and 35 now. Thank you for sticking in with us. As I said, it's our first time doing a virtual cooking class, so we're all learning as we go. I'm just going to show you the tea in about 1 minute. What I will just say, if anyone wants to stay on at the end with other questions, please feel free to do so. I will email out the recipes tomorrow as well, and any other tips that us consultants wanted to share with you. The other thing I just wanted to say, in case there's people on here who are deciding whether to invest in a Thermomix or not, is that we do offer payment plans. There's 24 months interest free on always, but starting, what is it, Wednesday, we also have 36 months interest free, which is $16.30 a week, which, as you can imagine, not the type of big figure amount that people would miss out of your bank account each week. And certainly we have found with our customers that you can save more than that per week by having a Thermomix, making that $16 very cost neutral. So yeah, it's a really great option. We do have other payment options which a consultant can go through with you as well. Yeah, if you don't have a consultant, when I email you tomorrow, just email Beth so I can help you with that. But here is our tea. Oh, it smells so good. And all I need to do now is put it through, let me push you back so you can see a little bit better, hopefully. I'm going to push it through a sieve into my jug. This can be chilled to become iced tea if you want to make iced tea, but it's really nice hot. I will just say if you're reheating it, oops, I spilled a bit. If you're reheating it, please don't reheat it in the microwave. You are killing nutrients when you do that. You can Google that information. If you don't care, please go ahead. You don't have to listen to me. But reheating in, you can reheat it back in your Thermomix. We have a kettle function where you can choose the temperature you want it to be at, and it will beep at you when it reaches that temperature, or just do it on the stove or whatever. But I like to have my tea in the Thermomix branded Keep Cup, which keeps your tea hot or warm. It's got a beautiful lid so that it can be on the go. I take this around with me. I've been going around the house homeschooling the 4 kids who are all in different areas, and I've been taking my teacup with me around the house these last few days. So that's really handy, and it's a great immune building tea that you can have that is also actually really tasty. And yes, I'm just looking in the chat. The cocktail won't go to waste. Nat's a single mum who works as well, and so it's really great that she can put her food up at the end of the day and have a cocktail. So that is the end of our cooking class. Thank you so much for joining us. We didn't know who would. We just wanted to put it out there, and we're just so glad you wanted to come cook with us on a Monday evening while we're all socially distancing. So thank you so much. As I said, if you have questions, feel free to come off mute and ask us, or just write it in the chat. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything to say. If any other consultants want to say something, come off and add something in. But I just want to say a big thank you to our team in our Little Hills area team here who have come on tonight to help us all. They're all beautiful. I love working with you so much. Yeah, that's the end of our cooking class. Oh, and thank you for your chats, all of you putting comments in the chats. That makes us feel like we're not just talking to an empty room, which we are, but we're not. So yeah, thanks for interacting with us as well.